video track. So that eliminates a big problem with the video making process in terms of doing retakes and getting the script right in the first go. We also craft a step-by-step article with screenshots captured from the video alongside GIFs that explain exactly what the flow is. So this is because generally people we've found prefer absorbing content in different ways. Some people prefer a really terse document. Some people prefer being handheld through the exact steps in the form of a video. And then finally, all the content you make in Cluzo can be either exported out or hosted on our own knowledge-based product as well. So today we have over 250 companies who are using Cluzo in production for all their documentation and video needs. And this spans a huge variety of use cases. So the primary use case people use Cluzo today are other SaaS companies, like how we were when we started out building Cluzo. So that's product managers and customer education teams. But we've increasingly found adoption in companies outside of SaaS, companies, especially the L&D divisions, who want to improve digital adoption of software that they're buying across verticals in the company. They want to find a way to make it engaging, find a way to track their employees actually watching this content, absorbing this content, actually getting some value out of it. So that's what Cluzo is as a business today. I think what I would love to close out my demo with, if we have the slide ready, is I think the product kind of speaks for itself. So what I want to show you is the kind of raw input video you would start with. So this is the typical low effort video recording that someone would do over like, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, just trying to get some content out. And then I'd like to show you what the output is after it goes through Cluzo, after you just input that recording to Cluzo, what our product and AI kind of produce. Do we have that? Yeah. Yeah, you can just hit play on the first one, the one number 5. Yeah.
Oh,
So that just. What Manasvi? So what's the email ID?
Manasvi.
Yeah, can you give it a shot again? So the funny thing about Cluzo is this ends up happening in any kind of Zoom recording. There's always this time that gets wasted. So Cluzo actually, like one of the features we built is to strip out the parts of a Zoom recording that aren't relevant in the final video. So hopefully I'll get to use it even on this one. Okay. Still don't have access.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
you request access and then you'll get a notification.
Yeah.
Just request access.
Hit
request access.
Yeah.
Click on that. Hit request access. And then I think you should receive an email notification of the request.
Let me check. Yes.
Just refresh this page.
Okay. Get the mail, but for some reason I'm getting through. I think my internet might be causing an issue.
It's okay, we can do the video later.
Yeah, we can do the video. We can maybe come back to it after
Yeah.
the next question. Awesome. Sorry about that, folks, but thanks a lot for your time. And do check us out at cluzo.io if any of this seems like it could help you or anyone you know in building videos and docs.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll be coming to the video later.
Yeah, I'll just fix the permission issue on the side.
Fundraising project. Let me now ask
Yeah.
Isha Juneja is the co-founder of Contravault AI, and Isha, you have another family co You the co-founder?
No.
Yeah.
Just stand. Would you please mind loading my presentation?
Yeah.
Range of switched out.
Could. Can you move to the Zoom screen, please? Oh, sorry. Could you be open the? Yes, perfect. Hi guys, are you able to hear me?
Those online, can you hear Isha?
We can hear you.
Great.
Awesome, thanks, Swati. So thank you everyone for joining in. Very excited to show you guys what Contravault is about. So we are an AI-based platform which helps companies bid on RFPs and tenders better. I'll show you how. I see a lot of experts sitting in the room and online, so I wouldn't find difficult to explain what a tender is, what an RFP is. But just to give you a brief understanding about what happens. Why is it so zoomed in? Sorry, could you please? Can you go the, yeah.
Better?
Yeah,
Please.
much. Just one second. Yes. So as of today, how Indian government makes things do, so how they get their tasks, jobs done, is by floating tenders and RFPs. They want to construct a bridge, they want to make some roads, they want to set up a power station, everything and anything is done via floating tenders. And the companies you see on top, construction, energy, power, oil and gas, all these guys get business by bidding on these tenders. So you bid on a tender, you quote a price, and then you win if you're among the best ones. So this is how these companies earn their business today. We're working with most of them that you see on the screen today, and very proudly so. And the problems that we've seen with these companies, sorry, I can't operate it from here. The problem that we see with these companies who are bidding on tenders day in and day out is that the tender is very, very high in value. It ranges from tens of crores of rupees to about thousands of crores of rupees. The problem is that the process of tender bidding is very, very manual today. And it involves a lot of errors, sometimes a lot of compliances, clauses are missed. You end up overquoting or underquoting, end up losing the job and not winning the tender that you've worked hard for. All the time and effort is wasted by a lot of these companies and they find the process to be very, very manual and tedious, especially when the timelines to, excuse me, sorry guys, I'm getting distracted a bit. Especially when the timelines to bid on these tenders is very, very limited, just about 2 to 3 weeks. So this is where Contravault steps into picture. With our AI platform, we help you with understanding all the risks, compliances, problematic clauses that are there in the huge tender, which is about 1,000, 2,000 pager long, and help you understand how to mitigate those risks. Just to give you a picture about who we are, now I'll quickly introduce the team. Leftmost, you see the CEO at Contravault. He's Shan, again, a very young team, just like Cluso. Shan is an engineer in power systems, did his MBA from MXR Jamshedpur in India, worked as a brand manager at ITC before this. Then there is me. I did my instrumentation engineering from Delhi University, did my MBA from the same school, worked at companies like Microsoft, NatWest Group before this. Shan and I had a startup before this, which got acqui-hired by supertails.com in India. We were building pet care devices for pets, very passionate about them, and now we're building something in the AI space. Then there is Tanmay, an engineer from IIT Delhi, and he's built each and everything that you'll see in the product screenshots that I'll show you. Now, of course, you'd be wondering why such a young team is building stuff in tender management. So that's why we have the relevant SMEs and advisors with us. There is Mr. Ganeshan, who used to be a director at IOCL, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, and an ex-CFO director at Indian Oil Adani Ventures Limited as well. Mr. Kaustav Sen, similarly, 25 plus years of experience, worked at companies like GE, Alstom, maybe in the past. And these two guys make sure that we do the whole process of tender bidding well, reach out to the right customers and build the right product for them. A bit about our current customers, our traction, and a bit about how we're going to the market with this product. So currently we have about 7 paying customers with just a 9-month old company. We have about 7 customers across US, India, and Brazil. You can see them on screen. We have, so we're in final negotiations with a lot of these guys. As you would know, the enterprise sales cycle is pretty difficult and long. Then have about 40 plus pilots also going on across countries in US, Brazil, India, and Dubai. How we're going to market with this product is majorly by doing channel partnerships with companies who are doing similar work. So for example, in the US, we have a company called Technomile who's a partner. These guys are into contract management space, and they see a lot of value in the AI part, which we've built for the RFP space. Then in India, we have a company called NGSL, which is a joint venture between NTPC and GE. These guys are also collaborating with us in terms of building another module for the product. And in Brazil, we have a channel partner called Oaktech through whom we're selling the product. So this is a bit about whom we're serving and how we're serving them. Lastly, I think I would quickly go to the ask that I have from the audience. And a lot of ideas Madan gave me, but thanks for that. So guys, we have already closed our first seed investment round, but I mean, open to exploring more options for fundraise. If some people in this room think that you know people or companies who might make use of this product, please do help us with that. And then partnerships is something which we think is the most relevant thing for us today in terms of selling the product. So would love to explore these 3 things with you guys. Lastly, just some screenshots from the product, what we do exactly using the product today. So the first thing that you do as a company when you receive a tender is that you have to understand whether that tender is biddable or not for you. So you have to make a go or no-go decision. The software helps you quickly do that. Essentially, these companies would take 4 to 5 days at least to reach this conclusion of whether they can or cannot bid on a tender, because the tender is about 4,000, 5,000 pages long. So it's very difficult for 5 teams conclusively for them to decide whether the tender is biddable or not. But on the software, you can do it under seconds because all of your checks are already loaded and you just have to check what is complying, what is not complying. Next is when we help them analyzing the risks and problems that are there in the contract for the contractor. So there might be some incompleted payments, some liquidated damages already present in the contract between some lines and you might miss them. But using the software, you can quickly check for all of those risks and understand how you want to mitigate them. Another thing which we've seen companies do is that a lot of clauses are not favorable towards them, and hence they want to revise those clauses, reframe them, and then challenge the tender owner as to, okay, you have to change this, and this is only when once you change it, only then I'll feel more comfortable getting the job done. So this is essentially what we do using the software. You enter your original clause, your what you want to modify it for, and the final modified clause is given to you. Essentially, this would also take 4 to 5 days for the legal team of a company to go iterate, do back and forth, etc. Lastly, search section. It is, again, as we all know, contextual search. You can search for anything and everything on top of a tender. no matter how long it is. And you will get all the consolidated references alongside page numbers, which are clickable. So very easy references are there. And that's how you search for things which were already not covered in the earlier sections. Lastly, these companies, after the entire analysis is done, would spend some 2-3 days to collate a summary, a synopsis of this tender and pass on to their management. Now that also is done in minutes using the software, where you just have to enter the fields which you want to bring the summary out into, and the software will do the job for you. Also, you can download it in an Excel format. So that's how we essentially automate the entire manual process, bring more intelligence and speed into it, and help companies bid on more number of tenders with the same conversion rate. They would end up winning more, which is thousands and thousands of crores of rupees on their top line. So this is what we do with ContraVault. Would love to take any questions after the session. But thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Isha. That's a very good presentation that you shared with us.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best. We have one more presentation from a founder, and then we move on to some insights from the investor. Our next speech is going to be by Hari Subramanian, co-founder of Niti AI. Hari, are you there? Floor is yours. Hari? Hari, a while ago. He's dropped off.
He's there on the left hand.
Hari, can you hear us? Is he on mute?
Just to unmute.
Okay, maybe we should go to Manoj Agarwal. Manoj is with us. Manoj is an investor in the startup community. He is the managing partner at XC Fund. Manoj, can you share with us some of your insights in some of the startups we just heard in the enterprise AI space, video generation, procurement, and so on? Manoj, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Madan. Pleasure to be part of this event virtually. So interesting startups, Clujo and ContraVault, right?
Yeah, that's right.
ContraVault AI. I mean areas which we have seen that there are maybe a few other players, but then I think these are large opportunities. Like especially the training video or sales promotion video creation AI. There are many video AIs, but verticalized focus always helps. Like we saw something in sales, automating the sales cycle, improving the performance of sales people, things like that. I think these are use cases which are, which are seeing traction. These are interesting use cases. What we have to see is, continuous use and how these can be further fine-tuned and, performance improved. In fact, would have loved to see the demo, but I think something didn't work, but happy to know more. Then I think the tender space again, it's a huge opportunity in India. It's very large. Rather globally, it's very large, but in India, the way, especially the government ecosystem, nothing works without tender. And I think thousands of enterprises, MSMEs, SMEs are day in, day out bidding. And if something like this can really help them in improving their, I remember, being involved in some of these tender breeding processes, and these are very time consuming, complex, but yes, one has to see how they perform. I did look up, there are some other such systems, but very, very interesting use cases. And I think look forward to these doing well, and happy to understand more, later on. Maybe we can connect with them separately.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much, Manoj. As mentioned earlier, I will connect you to all the speakers here in the room, especially the founders, so they can bounce some more of the ideas and some of the requests and RFPs from you. Thanks so much, Manoj. Let's move on with the rest of the program now. We have with us a very interesting session now. Our next speaker is going to be talking about Gen AI and creativity, and he's the author of this very interesting article on Gen AI and the New Age of Human Creativity. I have it here with me. This article also made it to the Harvard Business Review special edition on Gen AI. And the author of this article, the co-author, is in this room with us. His name is Lokesh. Lokesh Venkataswamy is the CEO and Managing Director of InnoMantra. So it's very great for us to have an HBR author on Gen AI here with us. Lokesh, you have about 20 minutes now for your keynote address. Over to you, Lokesh. Thanks.
Thank you. Text is not coming. Text is there. Text. It's just I think so.
There is no text on.
Oh, the title text was there.
There is no text.
Is it okay?
You have to escape, I think. But there is no text on the first slide.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually black.
Okay. No, I think there was this text actually. So thank you so much. I really appreciate for this joining this evening. And then I just give a brief about how this article actually, I'm going to talk about the article, what has been published, that how generative AI can, how generative AI can augment human creativity. So basically, when a generative AI, we are into the business of helping companies to really ideate, helping companies to prepare them for the ideation, and then take them to the ideation process. We have a systematic approach. When Gen AI came into picture, actually, we used to produce around 500 to 2,500 ideas. And then with the Gen AI, I can do it in a fraction of a second. Then we thought actually how we can really imbibe Gen AI for the ideation process. So that's what the whole thing actually how we can really maximize human potential using Gen AI. Right. So we are basically an innovation consulting firm based out of Bangalore, and then we help companies driving innovation. And we work in three areas. One is digital transformation, innovation space, as well as the intellectual property. In the innovation space, we work with a strategic innovation, how the senior management need to really drive innovation. The second part is the people innovation, how to enable from a doorman to chairman, how they can really get involved in the innovation process. The third part is the design thinking and functional innovation. At the same time, we also have a platform which helps the companies to really use the platform to really put their ideas. It's like a Facebook for organization to really discuss ideas, vote ideas, and so on and so forth, right? So what we really promise is minimum 3x impact in our engagement. Actually, if you don't achieve it, actually we don't charge them. So minimum we achieve at least 6x in the process. Okay. So I think let's go into somewhere. Okay. Is it end results? Is not working? Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Escape out of the full screen because Zoom is not showing the.
It's not showing the full screen?
Yeah, press escape. From here we can do it.
Is it possible? No?
Yeah, it's right.
Okay.
Now it's like move that also.
Okay, okay. Okay. Sorry. Going very fast. Okay, so these are some of our clients with whom we work. We work with more than 100+ clients so far, and then amazing results we have really achieved with them. At the same time, we also significantly contributed to industry associations. And also, this is what the recent publication actually, which featured in Harvard Business Review. We initially when we made this article actually. We thought of sending to the California Management Review. Actually, the editor was kind and saying that this article has got a more potential. In fact, actually, he connected us to the HBR, and then we made it actually, right? So and then later it transformed into a book, and then the book chapter, as well as it got republished again in the annual issue. When we really look at AI, actually definitely it has really taken a shape over a decade actually, right? So again, the
after the generative AI, the potential of AI is really explained to even to the common man. Even like the biggest challenge what we have seen in the past, while people giving away the ideas to the company, the challenge was always like they have fantastic ideas. Where they were failing was articulating those ideas. So with generative AI, I think it really like it really maximizes their potential, and then they also feel better when they read out their ideas better. So this is basically like the what I mean to say is like the AI was there from 1940s, nothing new. But actually, if you really look at now, actually it is really taken to a new shape altogether. I don't know some of these slides; it's missing out the details. So it also like this is actually the from the movies actually how like this AI was like showcased actually. That is one is in the Space Odyssey as well as Metropolis. Basically, what I mean to say here is the fiction to reality actually it's shrinking drastically. What we have seen in movies like in Game Robot, actually now it's a reality actually, right? It's shrinking drastically. At the same time, like I think I have a wrong slides actually. It's not okay. So one is actually what we have seen in this article is one is quality of ideas, because when we really look at ideation, we used to generate 500 to 2000 ideas, and at the end of the day we used to identify around 20 projects. And that actually 10 will get funded, and then we try to pitch within the companies, and then try to see that the funding can be done. So the second part is basically time to evaluate the ideas. So most of the time what we have seen is actually the most of the ideas are coming on digital space. Traditional companies are finding very challenging to really digest those ideas. They're fantastic ideas, but they don't have potential the human capability within the organization to drive that actually. So the third part is basically to engage in the ideas actually collaborative design. Actually today, because people are sitting in different places, and then the designs are done in multiple places, actually people coming together. So what we have seen is the engagement of designing something actually it takes a new level altogether, because whatever you really think you can really see as an image right today, right? So that is a big change which happened in the thought process of designers. We also like one more aspect actually interesting part was actually this is something we found that how generative AI is helping the designers. One is actually the creative part is always bringing two different components from two different places together, right? So for example, the more the if it is a far enough, actually the novelty is very high. If it's closer enough, actually the novelty will be less. So here, if you really look at this is basically the structure is YALI. The YALI is all about they have standards in that also. They have 16 basic formats and then some 256 the multiple variants on this. This is basically if a craftsman can able to make this, he has achieved the high level of his craftsmanship. Okay, that means you have a 3 figures attached to one single, right? You have a face of the elephant, body of a horse, and then you also tail of a crocodile. That means it's a tri-association, bringing 3 different animals together, right? So even to really have a novelty in your ideas, it's always the better to bring 3 different aspects. Actually, here what I really looked at in ChatGPT is virtual reality, sustainable agriculture, and then personalized nutrition. When I really bring all these 3 aspects, actually, you can see there is a business model coming, right? So you can really think and play with this models actually, right? For example, if I want to really have a garden, have a tea shop, and then also want some kind of personal time. So can you really bring a business model around this, right? So this is how actually how the tri-association really helps in building up the ideas to the next level. At the same time, I don't know, there is some challenge in the file which is copied. I'm not able to see any of the pictures. This entire presentation actually we used Gen AI only. When we really published, this was the first time actually HPR has produced so many AI images on their magazine. So they had a lot of challenges in really getting the approvals also. So this is basically what we say here that the bringing the by association here, the camel and the car together. And then this is a panda, hippopotamus and koala and like and sofa together. Here the hippopotamus and tub together, and then spider and helicopter together. So you can see some of the examples here. Actually, you can see some of the variants here. So what I mean to say, this is basically what we are really looking at is how we can really maximize your creativity. Even some people have asked us actually, is there a product available? Actually, in fact, we also saw some of the products which is derived from this actually even in Amazon actually. This is the spider and helicopter together. We can see the butterfly and pillows together. Here you can see eagle and crane, right? So honeybee and then the cup, right? So panda and sofa together here, right? So I mean to say, like here you're looking at elephant chocolate coming together, right? So I mean to say the concepts what you can build in shortest time, something which I wanted to really highlight here. So this is a tortoise and scorpio coming together with car, right? So this also like this is iconic image which featured in the magazine also. The butterfly and elephant coming together. So I mean to say that each one rendering used to take longer time in the past. Today, like what you think you can see immediately and then really get the feedback. And at the same time, you can do collaboratively also. All right. So that is a big change which happened actually after the ChatGPT and DALL-E. This is really in Midjourney and DALL-E what we used actually. And also like the how we really got into the space actually, we were the early users of ChatGPT. The day two we started using, in fact. And because we are into this business, and then we thought that actually even our business model will get into a lot of trouble with this actually. Then we thought how we can use it. And the first mail actually which I drafted is for BBMP. There was a drainage pipe leak, and then we created, we just gave a prompt, and then I just got it and then sent to the BBMP. Within 30 minutes, there was a person attending to the call. Then I was really surprised to see that this kind of response, like, Then later I wanted to thank her. I called her saying that, like, I'm really thankful because you attended the issue very in the shortest time, within 30 minutes. I was really surprised. Then she told one thing, Lokesh, this is the best complaint mail I ever received. After that, I thought, okay, there is something in this serious. We need to take it up. Second thing is actually there was a bank fraud transaction in our bank company account. Then the bank said you need to give an FIR. Then we gave all the details, and then this is also day 3 or something. And then we drafted an FIR. And then we went to the police station and gave that. Okay. And the first question he asked, who is the lawyer who drafted this? I mean to say that this is a kind of like, the impact actually, which really impressed us actually. So that led to write this article. Okay, so very importantly, we wanted to bring in actually, it will not really take away the job. Basically, it will really enhances the human capability. So the average designer can really, like, the present like a super designer. That is a potential. Okay, so I don't know, there is some challenge with it actually. I'm not able to. I just wanted to ask this question, like, can you identify this person?
Some tennis player? Anyone online guess who's this?
Can I guess this?
I don't know, Elon Musk plus someone else.
Yeah.
No?
I think it says that the person does not exist, so I.
Oh, lovely, you got it. So this person doesn't exist actually, so that does not exist. There is a site called This Person Does Not Exist. You can really create new models, and then you can use it for your, like, the brochures, right? So this is what actually, like, finally what I wanted to really do. All these are created by AI images. And just imagine the kind of potential, how the design companies can really utilize this actually. So basically what we are really highlighted is human creativity is boundless. At the same time, it has got an immense potential to not replacing the humans, basically to assist the humans actually. That's all about actually. So hope I think, like, this was interesting. I can share this article also. possibly, you can go through in deep. It's a more of a tutorial article, so that you get can experiment parallelly also. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Lokesh.
Thank
For you joining a bit late. This is the HBR special review on GenAI, in which Lokesh has this article on
I don't know, some
GenAI and
challenge with
artificial
the
intelligence.
text.
So any questions for Lokesh while he's here? We can take maybe one or two quick questions. We have to move on with time.
Yep.
Anyone online have a question?
I had one question maybe.
Yeah, go on.
So Lokesh, great sort of presentation. One thought I had was as the gap between what a person is thinking or a customer is thinking, in this case, a customer of yours is thinking, and the output that they can generate from a design standpoint, do you eventually see that getting more and more left shifted, as in someone is able to directly ask the question, create the designs that they want, because it's a matter of how expressive you are with your thought and converting that into prompt. Where do you sort of see the value that you add in this chain? Is that more in the ideation process, co-creating with the customer? How do you think design will change?
See, what we have seen is the biggest challenge we used to face in the past before GenAI. People come up with a fantastic ideas, and then we use some developers to really come up with those ideas into proto, right? So what happens during that span? People change their mind. Okay, so by the time we go and present, they say, "Oh no, things have changed now." Right now, what's happening now is we take only the designers. So the moment the idea is evolved, actually, very next day we come up with a complete. The design is done, and then when you go and present, actually people get surprised, and then, oh, this is something amazing. So this is how the ROI will be. This is how the impact will be, and this is how the software will look like, and then people signing check then and there itself. So there is a big change in decision making, actually, because that whatever the time you gap you're giving, actually it's allowing them to reject the idea. Actually, here it's promoting the idea to really to the next level.
No, I have one question.
Yeah.
When you try the same prompt, let's say I will try elephant and butterfly.
Yeah.
Okay, it's giving this image. My competitor company, they might try similar prompt, and then if it is giving a similar design, okay, it will be like a copyright or the design. That issue will come, right? Because I tried logging in into let's say
Good. Louder. Yeah.
So somebody can give the similar prompt and then say use the same. So how you what do you think?
No, I think the art of developing the prompt, actually even ChatGPT helps you to really come up with a prompt also. So the art of developing the prompt itself is an art. How expressive you are actually. I always say hey, a draft like an HBR editor. Okay, then it really gives a different approach actually. Okay, not that everyone uses the same technique actually. Right? So this is how actually you can really build your style. Right? I have not seen two different, the same prompt giving the same output so far. We tried that.
Any thoughts on video? We just had a pitch on video. What have been your reactions on how GenAI works with videos?
With the videos? Videos, this article was much before the videos were so coming into picture. But what we have not seen in videos, but actually in the images, there is no chances actually you get the same image.
Actually, I tried, it was giving similar. Meta AI I tried, image generation.
Okay.
I tried with my login, and then I asked somebody to try.
Okay, speak up a little bit.
Meta AI.
Okay.
I tried my login.
Same prompt?
Same prompt. I asked somebody to try a different same prompt with a different ID, but it was giving similar result.
Absolutely. So, what we need to really.
I don't know whether it is generating thousands in that one it is giving, or I don't know, but similar one it is giving, but exactly not same.
Yeah, I mean to say it's going to help you to really come up with
the idea.
Options. Then finally, the decision making is with you. Okay, you select the 5 best and see that what is the combination of this best, you can really pick it up. Okay, that should be with our decision actually. Okay, it's not actually for a chocolate company, it doesn't matter. Like maybe the person who's selling in chocolates in the apartment, they may get excited about this idea. You can produce the chocolate and sell it to your neighbors. But actually, if you really want to make it as a product, actually, you need to really bring the best of all. So that's how actually, even for elephant and then butterfly, we tried like numerous images. Finally, we liked this. That's why we rounded off on this. And then finally got published also on the paper. So this is extremely important for us. That is what enhances the human potential, right? So you have plethora of options to really decide what to go with it. That is what we have found something exciting.
To add to that, I think if Meta is able to give similar images and text for same kind of prompt, that is actually pretty good, because the biggest problem is that it's not a deterministic output. It's usually different for even if for the same prompt, the outputs are different. So
absolutely,
I think
absolutely,
it's actually worth
Thanks.
better.
Thanks, Mukesh.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We need a special session after this, maybe on IP issues of ownership.
Madan, I had a question.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Lokesh, I wanted to ask you, what's the effect going to be on the critical thinking of the next generation? Secondly, help me to frame this question, maybe give me a prompt for this. How do you pull in the wisdom of people who have experience like us? We've got 30 years experience, and now we have somebody who learns prompt engineering, and he's able to, sort of on the fly generate so many so-called fantastic looking designs, but practically we don't know what's going to happen in its implementation. So how does this getting addressed?
Oh, fantastic question, Rodolfo. Actually, there was a recent paper by Microsoft, actually, which produces, to say the same question being asked, like the critical thinking of systems is coming down, right? So I mean to say, I think we should not really bother too much about it. Actually, ultimately, the competition is all about that, actually. So today, you may have 30 years of experience, doesn't matter. I'll tell you myself, when we really ideating on how to really market, Mantra, actually. So we asked, give me some 100 ideas how to really market, Mantra. It gave 100 ideas. Actually, they said, okay, give me some 10 ideas, filter out 10 ideas, which we need to really work on compellingly. It gave 10 ideas, believe it or not, 5 ideas we were really rounded off. Much before that, we were working on it. To learn that 5 ideas, I took 15 years. Okay. So now, within no time, you are getting this, right? I mean to say, this is what the potential of generative AI. I mean to say, how you can really maximize your potential. At the same time, how fast you can really transform your ideas into a reality. Right, that is what actually, which is really, which amazes with this generative AI, and then with the chat GPT, right? So this is what I think something is going to happen, because if you really look at in last 5 years, actually people who are really coded with how people used to code 5 years back, the way the people coded 2 years back is different. Today how people code is totally different. So from every line of code, they came to low code. From low code, they come to no code, actually, right? Now it's only the expression. How well you can express, actually, so well you can really draft the code, but possibly get the codes, right?
So the message I get is that I can retire peacefully. Don't worry, the next gen is going to take over.
No. I mean to say, it's not that. I feel I mean to say the potential. I mean to say today, I think myself, I have never been coded in the past. Now I started coding. That is a magic happening, right? So this is the potential of the the new generation technology, right? So we should maximize it. It's a potential, and then we should inculcate a new way of working together, right? So fantastic.
Thanks, Lokesh.
Thank you.
That's another topic by itself, which is how to reskill based on sitting on the piggybacking on other people's knowledge using Gen AI. Absolutely. How it has compressed years of learning, expertise, etc. It includes every technology has been doing this, but now it's getting even faster into more creative kind of ways.
And one more thing also, I'll tell you, we in the consulting, actually, we spend a lot of time on developing like the proposals and so on and so forth. At least one proposal used to take minimum 3 days for us actually. Today, actually, I meant to say in 3 days we can send 30 proposals actually. So that is a level actually. That's the kind of I mean to say transformation happened. Like 60 to 80% of my content is synthetic actually. All right. So I mean to say that's the potential actually. So I think we should maximize the opportunity.
A 10x change at least.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Thanks again, Lokesh.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks. Let's move on with the agenda. And Rudy, you've asked a lot of questions. The floor is yours now. We are here also about a month or so since a gentleman called Ikujiro Nonaka passed away. For those of you who don't know, he wrote one of the most foundational books on the field of knowledge management in the early 90s. He passed away recently, and I'm going to ask Rudolf D'Souza, founder and CEO of Innovate Consulting, to say a few words about the book. The man, and you actually met him also, right? Rudy, over to you.
Yeah, so can I have my slides up, Mansfi, if we could do that?
Yeah, coming right.
So actually, it's a honor for me to talk about Nonaka because he's been an amazing guy, a remarkable thinker, and he's been the pioneer of knowledge management. And when you look at the timeline, which I'm going to show you, you'll realize why we talk about him as the pioneer. And he was a visionary basically in terms of organization learning. His work has actually had a lasting impact on how organizations generate, share, and utilize knowledge, shaping modern management philosophies. And many people don't know it. He's also known as the father of the agile methodologies. So we all know him about his groundbreaking contribution, the Seki model, and we will talk a little bit more about it at the right time. And in his latter years, Madan, I wanted to correct you, but till the end, Nonaka has been very busy. Actually, he's been talking a lot about wise leadership. It is the power of leadership with purpose, and I'll talk about it in a bit. And also, he has been talking about fractal organization. And so many things that he has been doing. He's been known, I mean, they now say that he was actually the successor to Peter Drucker. So let's take a little bit closer look at this person. Okay, so as you can see, Nonaka was actually, where are the slides?
Yeah, they come. Yeah. Yeah,
so, yeah. So you can go to the next one. Next one, please. So this one. So actually, he was born in Tokyo in 1935. I am giving you it's a very important milestone. Okay, and he graduated. He did his BA in economics and political economics from the Japanese university, the Waseda University. And in 1958, when he graduated, 1968 and 72, he did his MBA and his PhD from the University of California. Now, these timelines are important because if you remember, the World War ended in 1948 and 1949, and Japan was completely economically destroyed. It's something like the Gaza Strip that you see today. And then they had to rebuild. And since he had a PhD from the University of California, he came down. Now, those of you who are not from this age, the Japanese started making cars, they started making office automation equipment, etc. And people would laugh at them because they felt that, oh, this was basically a low quality. You know how the story of Sony came about. They used to call them, in a slang language, the Japanese, they call them Sunny. So that's how they corrupted the word and call it Sony. And the Americans laughed at them when the cars came to US and they said they cannot compete with us. But slowly, Japanese companies improved their quality. So you see the Toyota movement. Actually, this guy had worked, Ono had worked in Ford. And when he came back to Japan in the Toyota company, just eliminated waste. And that's how lean came into the picture. Now, Nonaka was drafted by the Japanese government to start looking at how these companies were generating value. So he did a study for the Japanese government, and his first book that he came out, I'll show you in the next slide. But right now, stay on this slide. Stay on this slide. No, stay on this slide. Okay. So he came out with his first book in 1986, where he talked about the practices of the Japanese companies, how they were creating value. And from there, Carl Eric Sweeby got influenced, Leif Edwinson got influenced, and the whole knowledge management movement started because of this seminal work that he had done. And he then studied, at that time it was in manufacturing, and he came out with the agile process in manufacturing because he had been in US. He was very influenced by rugby, and so the Scrum he started. All these are actually terms from rugby, which I will explain. So let's go on to the next slide. The next one. So his first book was in 1986. The new product development game came about, and this is where agile was actually. When I met him in Beijing, he explained to me about how his work was actually in hardware and about manufacturing. And he said, I'm very surprised that how the software world has taken this agile manufacturing and used it in software. He never expected that it could be ported so quickly. But that is really the crux of his work. It's all about people. He felt that if you have a lot of creative friction, people interact with each other, new knowledge gets created, processes can get improved. And the word scrum comes from scrummage. Whenever the ball in rugby goes out of play, they have something called a scrum formation, And so his thing is that constantly can we restart? Can we look at it? So rather than a waterfall methodology, his thing was that flow. It's all about flow. And so therefore you have got constant stoppages. Every day you've got a stand-up meeting, etc., to take stock what's happening, and then you move forward. So he is known as a father of agile software. Was any of you aware of that earlier?
No.
That he was no. So yeah,
He's also known
really
as father of the innovation management also in Japan.
yes, that's right. So I'll this thing amazing personality. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So this was 1986 when he came out with the first book. The second book was the Knowledge Creating Company in 1995. And this is where he spoke about what is the organization? What does it exist for? What are the vision? Why are we doing this? How are we doing it? And the interactions. And that's how it creates energy, what he calls energy. Towards the latter years, when I heard him speaking, he talked a lot about in organizations. So can we release that energy in the organization, through a creative stream, through innovations, through constant interactions of people? This was the important thing, that knowledge has to flow. People have to interact, and only then the organization can grow. We'll go on to the next slide. And from this book came the Seki model, which all of us know about. So he spoke about how knowledge actually can get created through creative friction between people, and then how it has to flow, and how you can create a lot of explicit knowledge. From explicit knowledge, you can again create new knowledge, and the entire cycle gets created, and it's a expanding spiral. So it is a good spiral, and therefore the organization moves forward. And these concepts, what he did, really, initially there was, in fact, I met one other knowledge management guru. He said, when people talk about the Seki model, I picked up the book, it was so drab, I threw it into the dustbin. And then every conference I went to, people are talking about, oh, Seki. I took the book, and then I started, it influenced my thinking. Today, this guy talks a lot about complexity thinking, but his work is also based on the complexity. How do you use Seki model to look at decision making and getting clarity in the organizations and moving the organization forward? So Nonaka has been a big influencer on even today's thought leaders in the KM world. Next slide, please. And this is here, and people talk only about Nonaka, but actually Takechi was one of his very close colleagues. So it was like a glove, hand in the glove. So he and Takeuchi wrote a number of books together, even right up to 3 years back. Okay, Takeuchi is a professor at the Harvard University. Nonaka was appointed as one of the chair for the University of California since he's from there. But there's something that you need to know about him, that he never had a computer. He believed in walking around, talking to people, developing his theories, etc., based on interaction with people. And so you can see in the books, the agile thinking actually developed after his book in 1986. Okay, so can we go on to the next one? And he's also known for innovation. Somebody had mentioned that. So he's known as the father of innovation in Japan, because his work is rooted in collaborative knowledge creation. He calls it, he doesn't use the word creative friction that has come out about now, but he talks about creative collaboration. His entire work is about collaboration and understanding and continuously flow of knowledge. And through that, you actually start getting a lot of innovation that comes out of it. So that go ahead to the next slide. And it was the latter half in 2017 when I met him. He was talking about wise leadership, and that is more required today. So my question to Lokesh was about this actually. When we talk about judgments, etc., making sound judgment, the wisdom of the experience that you have, where is all this going to fit in when we talk of using AI? And he has developed his entire work around the wise leader. Madan, maybe you'd like to investigate the book and put out a series on it now. And so yeah, let's move to the second last slide. And it was a moment of pride for me when I met him in 2017 at Beijing. And he's such a gentleman. He took care to understand my name. He was asking me, how come you have a Christian name when you're an Indian society? And he said that, one thing I must say about the Indians, you all are very good workers. He said, but when will I see India actually leading the world in terms of your thought leadership? He said, you all were the wisest people in the ancient times. And somewhere you'll have lost it. You'll have become copiers, etc. He said, I would like to see India taking the lead forward in thought leadership and leading the world. And maybe AI is the time when India can actually take that leap forward. So it was a moment of pride. If you see the photograph here, he looks more proud about meeting me than I look of meeting him. He really made you feel so happy, and a lot of questions he asked me about my work, etc., and so on. And he didn't allow me to speak much, ask him about his work. But when finally we had that discussion, he explained to me about how he was surprised that Agile has now come from the hardware field into the software. And he says, I feel really good about that. But it was not my intention. I was mainly looking at this thing. And I was asking what happened about the decline of the Japanese companies. At one time they had this thing. He said a lot of times ennui sets in. You get complacent. And he said that is what wise leadership is about. And so his next work, what he talks about, I'll explain in a minute. But he did speak about, he said, how you should never have pride. And secondly, you must depart. He said, you must depart early from when you are at the height of your success, because the next generation has to come up. And just go to the last slide, and I'll explain this now. He talked about the fractal organization. He says that actually an organization, don't look at it as a big entity. We need to start looking at teams that are working out there and see where is these people who are generating the next, who are creating the next generation of ideas, of processes, of products, etc. And that is really a fractal organization. We should not look at it in its entirety. And that is how innovation happens. Today, we give organizations training on disruptive mindset, etc. But actually, already there are people who are working on the next ideas, etc. But the organization culture stifles them. Can you create a fractal organization where everything gets repeated, replicated in small teams, and that's how the organization becomes a giant? So really, when we talk of Nonaka and his departure at this stage, maybe we wonder why, but maybe I think he has left it on to us to become the wise leaders and to create the world, make the world a better place. And it is now up to us to create the new thoughts, the new knowledge that he has left us as a starting base with. So it's really a matter of pride that I could, introduce and pay this tribute to him on behalf of all of us. Thank you, Madan, for the opportunity.
Fantastic. Thanks, Surabh. A lot of applause, please, for a very heartfelt. I think for 3 points, I actually loved your presentation, Rudy. One was on the analysis of his thought leadership and the whole trajectory of his books and publications. Secondly, the importance of connecting it to organizations of today, not just knowledge, but innovation as well in that sense. And thirdly, of course, the call to action to us to wake up and do something and go back to what we were trying to do in this whole space to begin with. Thanks, Rudy. I hope you can share the presentation with us afterwards so everyone else in this group can see some of these slides, and you can edit it if you want afterwards.
I have shared the presentation, so it is free for you to share it with everyone else.
Fantastic.
There are 1 or 2 hidden slides. I just like those to be deleted. Those only for reference. If you could delete those, that would be great, and then send it out again.
Perfect. Thanks, Rudy. And
Thank you.
We've got a panel discussion where I will need to come back again afterwards. Thanks so much.
No, I'm very keen to listen to Yvette. So.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, great. So that's a great segue to our next speaker. Our second keynote is Yvette Benne, the CEO of CSync from the Randstad in Netherlands. She is a contributor to the EU Communities of Practice Playbook, former Knowledge and Expertise Management Coordinator at the European Medicines Agency. She's an expert in knowledge transfer in organizations, and she's also the host of KMTV. So it's a TV channel about knowledge management. So Yvette, over to you. Let's hear from you on communities, knowledge, and connections. Yvette, over to you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm calling in from the very cold but sunny Amsterdam. We haven't seen the sun for 5 months, so this is a very happy day for me. And as Madan said, I'm the co-founder of CSync, where we synchronize community, C-suite, and collaboration. And I'm a rocker, and I love sweets. So you will have a sweet ride with me for the next 15 minutes. Can I share my presentation in this chat?
Yeah, can you just enable? Yeah.
Okay. So here's. Do you see it? Should be fine.
Yeah.
All right. You can see it, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So basically, what we are working on, like partially, is how we unlock tacit wisdom, because many organizations are still focusing on data and information, but we would like to go beyond that. And one of the things that captured our attention during our research within our company, that the corporate explicit knowledge bases all look like scientific articles. And imagine you are starting in an organization. We all have been there. This is what you need to fight through it. You have welcome partners who work with you, but they are, of course, either in the office or not, and they expect you to read through several documents. And this is a very, very difficult thing to do. Instead, you could also just have conversation with people. Last year, I interviewed the Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Weissman, for basically saving all our lives with his mRNA technology and combating COVID. And it was just so easy to talk to him and learn from him how he was doing all his research for 30 decades, instead of going through, for instance, several scientific articles. So basically, when we looked into how we could make corporate culture a little bit different and more engaging, we created this acronym OREO. Actually, I was eating the biscuit when I was thinking about it, and it came naturally to me. And so basically, we are starting with onboarding, which is in many organizations hoped for 3 months, but it never really happens. It can span up to 2 years. And then we talk about reboarding, which is when someone comes back from long-term leave or even returns to the company. And then we move into everboarding. You have been in an organization for more than 2 years, and now you would like to learn certain things that are new to your profession, or you can use your adjacent skills with it. And lastly, we have offboarding, when someone is actually retiring or leaving the company. For each of these phases, people need different type of knowledge, and there is a huge knowledge and information overload in companies. So we basically schedule all the knowledge objects according to the life cycle in your employment. And we help create a structure, or our company teaches organizations how to create a structure around it so that everybody gets the information what they need. What is important through this concept is that at the moment, I'm sure you are all familiar with the work learning styles. Many people would like to have visual or kinesthetic, like workshop type of knowledge sharing and learning. We all have our preferences. I have two Gen Zs in my home, my children. They are totally auditory. I don't think they have ever read a book. But the corporate culture is really synced towards readers and writers. So at the moment, this is really not engaging for people. And not only when I'm talking about generations, but for instance, people who have dyslexia or who have ADHD, who prefer different type of knowledge sharing. And on the top of that, all our communication became dopamine based. If any of you say that you are not binge watching series, I will not believe you, because they are just so good. And in an ideal world, we would have corporate internal knowledge presented to us in this way. So we would like to actually hear more and more and more and learn from each other. The attention span is really being reduced, not just through the generations, but it is very important to understand that Gen Z and Gen Alpha, who are coming up as young workforce, they basically can focus on a task under 1 minute. And they are very productive. It doesn't mean that they cannot do a job, but they are very picky about what they are deciding to work with, and they are very picky about how this information is presented. Is it only Gen Z? I'm not sure. I'm Gen X, and I don't have the same attention span anymore either. And if I can go towards a very creative and interesting knowledge sharing, I would choose that. And when it comes to emails, for instance, Gen Z only uses emails when they interact with my generation or older. And you will hear it from me the first time. In my opinion, in the next few years, Microsoft will stop the email services. Outlook will go extinct, and we are going to move towards different knowledge transfer ideas from knowledge like Teams meetings to Microsoft tools in the suite. So even when you send emails, Gen Z and other people as well, they would like to have something that is visually appealing. So when we created everything around Oreo, we wanted to move away from all these long documents and everything, and work with a dual concept where people do what is enjoyable. We talk to each other, we work with each other, we see each other, and we make each other visible for our expertise. And everything else is done by AI. And as Rudolf was kindly presenting Nonaka's work, we will basically do this around the Seki model. So someone is sharing their knowledge. We create podcasts. We just record these meetings, like this meeting now. And then we create very interesting either podcasts or vodcasts, or if it is, for instance, explicit knowledge, you can see an SOP like a series of TikTok videos. And everything is searchable now because AI makes this possible. So you can do it exactly like on YouTube videos or Microsoft Stream videos, that you search for an answer, and then you can find where in the video you will find your response. So when we captured someone's knowledge and we made it in an engaging way, then we can share it with the communities, so we can internalize it better when we are talking about it. And the process is very simple. We have a pre-production where we teach people how to behave in front of the camera. We have, for instance, chemistry sessions when we run multi-generational podcasts, which means that, for instance, you have a 25-year-old pharmacist and a 65-year-old pharmacist, and they talk about the same topics because I really believe that this is the first time in humankind evolution where all the generations have something to share, and reverse mentoring is really, really important in all kinds of topics. Then, of course, we do the production, which can go from a simple mobile phone recording to multiple cameras and studios. More and more organizations are establishing studios so that they can have internal TVs run on Microsoft Teams or podcasts, and basically company shows. And then the post-production, of course, is heavily based on AI tools to cut the most interesting areas, to summarize them, to transcribe them, to translate them. And in the end, we use also lots of AI for publication and promotion internally when you want to put it on info screens, or you would like to have internal social media to present your knowledge influencers. And at the moment, of course, we use lots of AI tools, and I really like the session in the beginning of this meeting where there were all these nice startups talking about their ideas. I can see very great ideas forming there. Many companies still are only Microsoft based because they cannot afford new software. But Microsoft has lots of great tools like Viva Engage to create communities, or Stream where you can publish the videos, kind of like TED style. With Claude, I found that from all the LLMs, this is the one that doesn't have the AI aftertaste when you try to create knowledge articles. And with Canva, you can obviously build beautiful presentations. Colossian is an interesting thing. So there are many people who want to share knowledge, but they don't want to be sharing the knowledge with a bias that they perceive is a weakness in the knowledge transfer. What do I mean by that? There have been many experts that we wanted to interview, and we wanted to create podcasts or podcasts with them, and they said no, because they were ashamed because of their accent or how they look, or because of their sexuality. And they said that they would like to create an avatar so we can capture their voice and capture their knowledge. But Colossian can help us to create an avatar that takes away the knowledge bias from whether it's a woman or an older woman, for instance, which is, in this world, it's less valuable than a younger woman, for instance, or we have different accents, Africa, India, Europe, and it takes away the focus of the knowledge sharing. I can tell you that I'm Eastern European, I'm Hungarian. I live in Amsterdam, and I have not lived in Hungary for 20 years. In Europe, Eastern Europeans are not regarded as smart as Western Europeans. So when people think that I'm blonde and I'm Western European, they think I'm smarter. And when they learn I'm Eastern European, it already creates a bias that would slow down the knowledge transfer. So Colossian can be one of the great ways. There are many more AI tools, Adobe, etc., but these are the ones that are very accessible for everybody. Then gamification. I love gamification. Hungary is famous for escape rooms. And when we create content classifications, thank you for the thumbs ups, Rudolf. We use the 5 chili concept. So on every videos, we say 1 chili. And I think in India, this would be a really good concept, right? Yeah. So in India, you say, okay, if this is very spicy, this is for expert level, like the Nobel Prize winners and someone who is really deep into that subject. But the one chili or paprika or whatever you want to use is for everybody. So when it comes to, you look at knowledge videos, for instance, in Microsoft SharePoint, then you can see the chilies, and then you say, okay, I'm a beginner, so I'm going to use the one chili, or I'm very advanced, so I skip all those and I go to 5 chilies. Still, people are asking, is it worth investing in knowledge sharing? Everybody wants to invest into AI and data and geeks, and so we don't want to focus on people. We don't want to capture the tacit knowledge. I think it is worth it because there is a very simple question here. How many knees a horse have? What do you think, guys? You can just show it. 4, really?
8. Yeah.
So it depends on what is the knowledge that we have captured so far. LLMs are very good analyzing this. So I asked last year ChatGPT 4, and they think that they have 4 knees, but I can instill doubt in them with a follow-up question saying, hey, AI, I think that horses have 2 knees, right? And it would agree with me. It would say, yes, you are correct to question that because horses might have 2 knees and 2 wrists. The same happened with Google Gemini because this is the knowledge that we captured over years, and AI LLMs can misinterpret several information. So we need to capture knowledge. We need to capture credible, right knowledge. Otherwise, we are just going to continue create hallucinations after hallucinations, which will in the end toxicate all our knowledge bases. And frankly, we are just going to be screwed. MS Copilot, which is used by many organizations, it is also agreeable. So whenever you create a prompt, you get an answer, but you make AI doubt its question, then you can basically influence the whole discussion, and maybe you will not end up to a reliable solution. Even although I really love AI, I love creativity and everything, I'm also a knowledge manager. So I really think we need to capture the knowledge that is in our head so that we can make everything accessible, findable, interoperable, and reusable, and all for the greater good. I know that there is lots of dark knowledge outside. There are lots of deep fakes as well. We need to tackle this situation with using credibility science, for instance, or following ethic standards. All in all, I know that you saw those statistics, how much time people spend searching, how much time people try to find out who knows what. If we capture the knowledge in an organization and we make it accessible for people, and then people get to know each other, then we can save as much as 2 days a week. So I would like to ask you, what would you do with the extra 2 days per week for your private life or your professional life? And you need to remember that to do that, it will start with one conversation. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and this was my presentation.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. That was a mini masterclass, not just a keynote. Thanks so much for all those insights on trends in the field, how to implement it, and your insights on those tools as well. And you're right, the 5 chilies model will work very well in India. Any questions, comments from people online or in this room? We can take maybe 1 or 2 questions before.
I'm always impressed when AVET presents, because one thing I realize that differentiates we human beings from others is our creativity. And if we lose that, we are lost. So therefore, I appreciate Yvette because constantly she looks at creative concepts. The fact that she talks about having your own studio in the organization so that you can create content. So that is really when you're looking at people and thinking, okay, how do I get them to consume content? The other thing when she spoke about this software where it creates an avatar and overcomes Colossian that overcomes biases. It's simply amazing because and people tend to discard people. Maybe they're juniors, but they have a point of view and they have experienced something very narrow field of knowledge, but because they are juniors, so people will discount them. But if you create an avatar, that is a fantastic idea. So thank you, Yvette. I was really looking forward to this session.
Thank you so much, Rudolph. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Vivek. And once again, I guess we can share your presentation with the attendees here. Right? You got about 15 people online, another 15 over here. So,
I have one question.
yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Hi, right. My name is Vinay, and we're working on a startup called Scholarly. So it's a learning experience platform and knowledge management for enterprises. One question or one challenge that we often encounter is nobody denies knowledge management is important. Everybody wants to acquire as much knowledge as possible, as feasible rather. But how do you motivate them? That's one problem that we are trying to address, and been out of ideas as to. Unless it is initiated by the employees themselves or people themselves, there isn't. I mean, it's like going to the gym, right? Everybody knows that we need to stay fit, but then it's kind of boring. Nobody really wants to go to a gym and work out for a couple of hours or so. So it's just like that medicine. What, according to you, or what's your thought on something like this?
This is a very interesting question, and it has so many different areas because I know many researchers in Europe, for instance, where they are looking into how knowledge transfer can happen in virtual office environment or in like real office environment because it has an impact. How far I am now, you are all in Bangalore. I wish I would be there with you. This would be even more fun. And I think that when we did the research in 2022, I talked to, I don't know, around 400 people, different generations. And they said to me, I would like to share my knowledge, but everybody is asking me to write it down. And I don't want to write down anything. I don't want to. So I said, okay, what if you just talk? And then we are going to transcribe it with LLM or we could create a video. And then we started this whole process. And then honestly, in organizations where we implemented this, we have a backlog. People are coming all the time and they say, hey, I would like to be on your podcast. I would like to say this. There is also Tech TV where people, it's actually a very simple Microsoft Teams meeting. You record it and you edit it a little bit and you have a Tech TV series. And it is crazy how popular it is. Like the first podcast that I ever established that was something like this within an organization between a 65-year-old retiring pharmacist and a 25-year-old interviewing him. On a Friday morning, we had 350 views in 45 minutes.
Wow.
So I think we want to have dopamine induced events, and we would like to learn more about each other. I mean, in the end of the day, it was 3 years ago that US declared loneliness a pandemic. And loneliness is at workplace, in private life. I mean, we can have so much fun over some Oreo,
Yeah.
But I think that the major thing is that most of and I'm sorry, I'm going to be frank here. Again, I'm Eastern European. So we have been invaded by so many nations that, I need to stand up for my views. In my opinion, what is happening is that most of the CEOs are mere CEOs. And I love men. I love my husband, my son, everybody I work with. But you guys are so geeks. And you're always going after the next AI, the next AI, the next AI, and the new sexy app that you can use in your work, which is absolutely amazing. But we need to also focus on people. And we can even, I love this presentation about how to create this elephant with the butterflies, beautiful, and the hippopotamus bathtub. But isn't it better if we do it together, 2, 3, 4 of us in a knowledge cafe, and then we use the tool, and it just accelerates innovation all the time. I'm not sure I responded to your question. Please correct me if I didn't. I'm very passionate about the topic.
Yeah, I think we can carry on with the discussion.
I have
I think-
one question. Do we have time?
Sorry. We need to move on to the next part of the session. I'll connect you even to all the speakers here. We can exchange ideas, etc. By the way, when I was studying in the US, I had a Hungarian roommate. I've been to Budapest during the Cold War, and again about 5 years ago for another KM conference. So I'll talk with you separately about that stuff. But even thanks so much. We have another panel discussion to get to before we finish at 6 o'clock. So a big round of applause.
Thank
One of the
you.
best keynotes we've ever had. One of the most fun keynotes we ever had at our session. Thank you, Yvette. We should definitely call you back again for future sessions. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, good. Ouch. We are 5:30 now. We've got another half an hour left. We've got a panel with 2 or 3 more speakers. I'm going to ask Swati now to speak. Swati is going to be telling us a little bit about her work in knowledge management. She's the knowledge manager at WNS Procurement. Swati, over to you. Tell us about some of your KM journeys, the KM impacts in WNS, and also what some of the emerging trends in AI space, etc., that you see. Swati, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Madan. And hi, everyone. My name is Swati Tiwari. And great presentations by everyone. Great to know about Tonaka. And I think great to know about the podcast that we are using in our organizations for knowledge management. So I am with the KM world since 17 years now. So I actually started my career with the KM. I was part of EY before, and now I'm with WNS procurement. So what I'll talk about today is, that how KM was started here, what were the challenges, and what we did to overcome those challenges, what we are doing right now, and what are the best practices that we are using in the KM world in our organization. So KM was set up here in WNS procurement back in 2017 when the firm was acquired by the current parent company, which is WNS. So when the acquisition happened, of course, the servers were different and the portals were different, and then there was a need of getting everything together, and because the content was segregated and there was a requirement of everything to be placed in one central place. There was a need of collaboration of, because there were two or different organizations. So communities of practice was set up as well, so that people from different, from people from same service lines or, support, they come together, they discuss, they help each other. But what happened by then was that the team that was set up, it was only set up by the existing business people, and there was no experts in KM in the team. And in 2 years, what the leadership realized was that yes, I think we have set up the KM, but there are some challenges. So knowledge was coming, which is of course good. It was good. Everyone was good about that. But there was no defined process of cleansing, of archiving the old or irrelevant content, or even doing the analytics, to check that how we are doing. And also, the way organization happened with respect to the information they received was also not up to the mark. So the leadership actually, started working on reviewing the strategy, and they reset up the knowledge management team. And back in 2018, they started hiring new people. People, with good KM background, with content, with analytics, and so on. And that was the time when I was, hired as well in the firm. And I was hired as knowledge management lead. I'm working as a lead here since 5 years. So when I joined the firm, I started, of course, analyzing a lot of things. And of course, there was a good central space for KM was missing. The space that was created, it was just a repository, just a database. And of course, there were challenges that users were facing with respect to how the data was organized. They were not able to find the information. They were not able to search the information. So we started working on how we can help, the users to overcome those challenges. we started working on that. We also reached out to the users to get their feedbacks as well on on the existing portals that was there. So what we started working on was we created a central system, what we call that as one-stop shop, an internet site that was required, that had all the required tools, the information, the resources that this particular BU needed at that point of time. So a knowledge repository was created, of course, as well. There was a community hub that was set up to increase the collaboration. And of course, we set up the process of cleansing, archiving that was actually missing completely before. And a point that I would like to highlight here is that when we were working on all these sites and resources, we actually arranged multiple focused group discussions with the leaders and also with some of the targeted users from the business itself. And the benefits of using this strategy was A, when we involve someone as part of the solution of the problem that they are facing, they know the importance and they will use the system that we are trying to build more. And B, as they were the end users, they knew the challenges better than us. So what happened, this actually helped us a lot, as the leaders actually became our brand ambassadors when we launched our portal. So there was not much of a marketing that was needed from the KM team because it was already done by the leadership there. So everything was done, the sites were launched, but we then realized that, of course, after some time, there is again a good focus on, the knowledge resources that was required. So a good focus on the marketing was required as well. So we started, working on the marketing strategies, regular communications, road shows. We in fact, started becoming the part of the orientation sessions as well for the new joiners, wherein we and also, we were also recognizing people who were submitting content. So that that again helped us a lot, and this is still the practice that we use. Regular marketing of the resources that we have whenever we are doing something new. When we have the global town halls, we get 10 minutes or 15 minutes slot so that we can tell people what is coming, what is the benefit that users will get. Because what everyone wants to know is that that okay, we will do it, we'll go to your sites, but what is the information that will help us in our day-to-day work. So um, along with this, we also relaunched one of our annual event called November, and we actually started that event before we started working on this in the month of November. And but again, what we realized was that the month November is not the appropriate time of the year. There are, it's a busy season, there are festivals, there are holidays. So we changed the time of the event from November to February. We renamed the event from November to Nolympics. So right now also, our annual event is going on with a great participation. So what are we doing in this event? So we focus on telling people about the available knowledge resources. We also arrange some games related to the resources so that we can get more participation as well. And also we reward people, we recognize people who submits knowledge during the event itself. And also we recognize people who are participating also. So the benefit of this is when when people come to us, they explore the different portals that we have. They explore the resources during the games, and then they start using the resources more and more. And every year after the event, we have always seen, the increase in our users, in our tools that we have. So I think one more thing that I would like to highlight is because we all focus on using AI. Um, there was a budget crunch, and there is still a budget crunch. And I think in every organization, there is a budget crunch whenever we want to do something new. I mean, there's a lot of focus on what are we doing, how are we doing, how will this help. So we actually started utilizing the chatbot, but that the chatbot was not required any of the budget. We used Microsoft Teams chatbot. So I think if you are not aware of this, this is a great functionality Microsoft has provided. So we used that. We created Teams chatbot for the knowledge resources that we have. So that actually has become beneficial for the people. It's saving people's time, and that worked for us as well, because more visitors are coming, more people are coming, more people are sharing information. They are using the resources that we have, and also we didn't really ask for any budget from the company. We in fact we have started, I would say, suggesting solutions in some of the processes that is saving money and time both for the overall organization. So I think that's actually working very well, for us and also for the organization. So 2 years back, when there was an acquisition that happened with two firms, and we actually have started collaborating with those two firms as well. It's a difficult phase when when the acquisitions and mergers happens, because the people are in different mindsets. Some people likes the acquisition. There are people who don't like the acquisition. So there a collaboration is actually required. We started that collaboration as well from knowledge perspective, and now the two firms, they are actually coming to us because we have actually we have some of the solutions that we have built in the past that actually has worked for the firm. And I think there is one challenge that I think everyone in the KM world faces, that how can we continuously getting the knowledge from the people, like knowledge sharing. So for that, we actually follow a strategy. We target a particular group of people that that we are aware of, who are the potential people for content sharing. So we target those, we collaborate those people, we then then we get the content and information for our portals as well, and that's how we keep our portals up to date as well. So I think one thing that actually has worked for us that I would like to, maybe suggest to all the KMs is that I think whatever we do, I think we know that we are doing good, but continuously reviewing what we are doing is very important. Analyzing the impact of our work, gathering the feedback and asking regularly about the changing needs is what we are focusing on, and what is working for us as well. So that's my suggestion, in fact, to everyone, that I think if you actually try to review your own work in the KM world, you can see increased collaboration, and also you can see more number of users coming to the KM portals and also asking for knowledge help as well. So that's what we are doing in WNS procurement. Thank you. Any
Fantastic.
questions?
Thanks, Swati. That was an excellent sharing of your knowledge journey. I like the word that you used, knowledge Olympics. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Olympics.
We have two experts in knowledge activities here in this group. One is Rudy, of course, and the second is Ved. I want to ask Ved now to speak. Ved Prakash is our next speaker. Ved is the former Chief Knowledge Officer of Triance, Wipro, etc. Now is an independent KM consultant and guru. So, Ved, over to you.
Thank you, Madan. So I guess, since AI is the theme of the day, so I'll talk about a couple of first-hand experiences that I'm currently having with usage of AI in an enterprise scale environment. So one is related to, this is a greenfield KM enterprise. It's a big analytics firm with 1,000+ people. They had absolutely nothing with respect to knowledge management. So the usual challenges that even Swati mentioned, for example, about the documents are segregated all around and all that. So it's important to have a focus area because you can't boil the ocean one shot. So we narrowed down on pre-sales and sales related content. It was in the laptops of people, in shared drives, and God knows where all. Right? So we have brought it all together and we use some innovative techniques to get it done. I'm not going to talk about those right now, but it's mainly about how are we using AI to get it all into a centralized repository. So we are using incidentally the Microsoft environment, which Yvette talked about, and I think Swati is also onto the Microsoft SharePoint and associated apps that are there. So one of the use cases that we found was that here you have 20,000 presentations. These are not these are just the presentations. A lot of them are duplicates. A lot of them are variants of each other. So for example, there is a pitch made to a client. You change one slide and it's a 90% of the deck is the same. So we are looking at using AI to segregate those so that you don't have too much of duplication of content in the new repository. The second thing that we are doing is using it for cleansing the document. So because this is sales and pre-sales content, so there are client references over there, which is a strict no-no, because when you have a central repository available to all employees, there's always a risk of somebody downloading it and sending it out on email. And clients can be very touchy about their name floating around, especially with competition. So we are using AI for doing that activity, also for the commercials, because we are talking of proposals as well. So how do we really identify a number in a document or a presentation? It's a commercial value or it is something which adds value to the content, the meat of the offering or capability or whatever. So AI is doing a good job on that. The next thing that we are using AI for in this scenario is we have defined a very comprehensive taxonomy for the repository because it does bring some structure to it and the way it helps in access of the relevant content for the end users. So again, Gen AI is proving very helpful in tagging the documents. And our yardstick is that if it is 70% correct, it's fine. It's okay. You can go back and modify it further later on. But at least when you're talking of bulk documents and you're able to do it in an automated manner, that's a really good use case of Gen AI. Otherwise, I remember when I was CQ in Wipro, we had some 100,000 documents where we had to do this exercise. We put together a team of 30 people who worked for a couple of months to accomplish this task. These are fresher engineers, smart ones. Right here, you are able to do it in a jiffy. So that's one example of Gen AI being actively used. The second example is from a non-IT company. So I work in KM and AI with a Fortune 100 firm, right? It's into commodities business, it's into agribusiness, and it has operations across the world because of agricultural products going from place A to place B. So the focus of KM there was in generating business knowledge and process knowledge. A lot of work happens out of India. People don't know why they are doing or what they are doing. They know how to carry out the transactions. So that was one part. But the second part gets more interesting, where we started looking at, can we look at the intersection of KM and AI to actually optimize and automate the processes themselves? And this is where the agentic AI, the AI agents that we talk of, came into picture. So what we looked at was we picked up a couple of very high value transactions. So for example, contract creation for supplying of, some corn from US to XYZ country. So there are hundreds of thousands of contracts that get created at every stage, right from contract with the farmer to the shipping company to the distributors and all that. Can that be automated? Now, obviously, there is a contract management solutions and all that, ContraVault and those kind of things. But here the use case is totally different. It's about looking at, for example, what are the SOPs already existing, and the variances are far too many because regulation can get really complex. From point A to point B, if some movement is happening of a good, and these are physical commodities, oils and grains and all that. So we use structured KM approach to see that from those SOPs, can some knowledge be derived, which can then be applied to templates of contracts of different kind, or sometimes the templates won't even exist, right? So we are using now Gen AI to create those templates, fill in the values, ensure that there is regulatory compliance and all that is happening, right? And obviously we have human in the loop in the whole process because you do want some human being to check it, because it's contracts. But we have gone to the extent of it goes and updates the contract management system. So we do want to eliminate the human in the loop, but right now the trust factor is not there, obviously, and rightfully also, I would say. You're talking of millions of dollars worth of goods being handled through these contracts. But the productivity was such that, for example, a team of 20 sitting in India was handling the transactional part of the contract. Now we find that probably the human that you need is only two people. Actually, you don't even need to. With one, you can make do, because all they are doing is looking at the output of, the knowledge base that is there, coupled with, AI being used to generate those. They read the AI, it's the knowledge base, Gen AI, looks at various other resources that are required for creating the contract, creates the contract. And then we have the human step in before it gets uploaded into the contract system. So that has been working very well. It has been presented to the CFO of the organization sitting in the US. They're happy but concerned in terms of the hallucination aspect and the trust aspect. And the Indian team is concerned that what happens to us.
Absolutely.
And but that's a reality, because now we have tasted blood, and you can see that transaction after transaction can get automated with the bare minimum presence of human required. We tried it on even transactions which are very number oriented. So, for example, travel and expense claims. People travel, and there are people who have expense claims on a daily basis, sales guys and all that. Or even regular employees, you have expenses of different kinds, you have your team outing and all that. AI is doing a fantastic job of bringing out the discrepancies in expense claims. So we tried it out. We found that in general, the manager approves without looking at it, right? I mean, that's what we do as managers. Unless there is something that stands out, to approve it. The next level of finance team also approve. Manager ne approve kar diya hai, so it's fine, right? Now, what AI does is, and there are again humongous number of policies for different categories of employees by country, by region, for what purpose. So it's a very complex system over there. AI is doing again a phenomenal job of pointing out all the exceptions. And on a daily basis, it's running into hundreds of thousands of dollars, which should not get approved. Right. Now the question mark is, do we do it and become unpopular with the employees or not? So we have left it, we have stopped it at the level of human. A report goes in a proper format if there are 20 items in the expense claim, that these 3 seem to be out of the ordinary. And they're actually saying why, against which clause of the policy it is. So the input to AI is the policy, in a way. So a lot of very different, brilliant use cases of Gen AI are coming in. So just thought we'll share these 2 examples.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Let's get some opinions from other people in the room also. Just tell us who you are and what you do. Yeah, one second.
Yeah, so I'm Manav Gupta. So I represent the company. I'm a co-founder of Lena Ventures. So we have this product called Sentiment Analysis Tool. So what this does is this helps in online brand reputation management. So how we came up with this idea is that the user journey now is not just directly buying. The user journey is through peer reviews. So peer reviews is done through comments in a particular video, or either brand collaboration video or brand selfie video. So what we do with this tool is we analyze these comments, we bucket them into positive, neutral, negative sentiments. We analyze the sentiments and we let the brands give a certain narration on what they want. So in a single dashboard view, we let brands analyze the public sentiment around a particular campaign. So this helps in online reputation management. So that's what we do.
That's another whole session by itself. Digital media. Go to this.
Yeah, so I'm Gaurav. I am founding partner at Ventures Inc. We advise other entrepreneurs on product and innovation. So hearing all these pitches is great. And anytime you're working these days with any entrepreneur, it's all about AI. So listening to your talk about AI and creativity, how I think that is actually very important right now, because in general, there's this fear in humans about AI taking away all our jobs. So how can human creativity really work together with AI? So I think your talk and what Yvette said about, I think she said men gentlemen are all just talking about AI. So I also really focus on when you're building products, it's about left brain thinking and right brain thinking together. And that's where I into all the talks. The fear of AI taking our jobs, it can do a lot of left brain stuff. That is what we've probably been doing a whole lot of, but there's uniquely human right brain thinking that it'll help us do. So great sessions.
Thanks. Gaurav is also ex-product guru at Cisco. He shuttles between Boston and Bangalore. Just landed last night or something.
Yeah, just
so despite his jet lag this year. And ma'am, yes, you are.
So I will do my management. Indian Institute.
We cannot hear.
Indian Institute of Astrophysics, yeah.
Yeah, same. I'm a colleague and I work in Indian Institute of Astrophysics. My main work is library management system. Yeah, so we deal with contents, not only contents, we deal with information, documents, files and books, everything. So I think knowledge management will help in organizing, classifying, cataloging as well. So thank you. It was a really brainstorming sessions.
Very nice. Every class was one of the routes, many routes.
Yeah. Actually,
yes.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Armu Bichai. I'm currently working in Indian Institute of Astrophysics. Before I was with Wipro, I was handling the sales knowledge management team. So we were struggling with this auto tagging and all these duplicate issues. So we were focusing mainly on pre-sales and sales content. And also I was part of, I was leading a team of migrating SharePoint on-prem to SharePoint online. So we were achieving the number one first adoption. We achieved the first adopter company on migrating SharePoint on-prem to SharePoint online. Before I was with HP and then Deloitte. So I worked, I implemented KM for HP Global Analytics from Business Group. And then I was also involved in taxonomy.
This is the first time you heard astrophysicists at that.
Hi, I'm Ravi Nandan from MXR Tech. And we've actually revamped knowledge management and re-implemented that, I should say, 5 years.
Which company again?
HCL. So, yeah, right now we are also exploring the opportunities in AI space. Yes, we have taken a step, but still kind of discovering more and more implemented it. That's why we are right.
And the very scholarly looking scholar.
Hi, my name is Vinay Kannan. I'm co-founder at Scholarly. So we have a knowledge management at the same time. What we're focusing on is a learning experience platform for enterprises, where, of course, this flavor of the season, AI is part of the application, of course, but then we are also focusing on the human element because that's really important and, trying to work out on the personality assessment and personality analysis of every employee, because along with the AI, how they interact and how they conduct their daily functions is also something that's very important. And that's where it brings them together.
Sai, can you bring up the screen again? We got some people online also. Arun, can you say hello and just connect with you to those of us who don't know you?
Hi, Arun here, a farmer currently, was with the corporate KM teams earlier, and still working in knowledge management, currently connecting with the highest source of knowledge. So I also work with a peace group, a global peace group at the moment. So that's me.
All right, great. Brian, are you there? Brian Tumusime. Say hi, introduce Shiva is there, Pratik. Any of you can just jump in and say hello before we wrap up here.
Hi everyone. I hope my camera works well.
Yeah.
My name is Brian Tumusime, and I'm a knowledge management specialist. Also now ventured into instructional learning. I've done it for the last 12 years. And I'm Ugandan by nationality, based in Uganda, but I have supported communities of practice, knowledge management systems setup, PHP learning sessions, and currently I'm working on with the Ministry of Health to build a mobile-based system that can translate very big guidelines into quick to understand video-based learning aids that are enforceable and that can provide assessments. So it was very exciting to be in this session, to learn from all of you and your extraordinary experience, and really excited to keep learning from. I just found a whole new world of knowledge management that I never knew, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Brian. Your life will change once you discover knowledge management. All of us in this way is the door to another way of thinking. Thanks, and we'll do another session on KM and some of the work you're doing as well. We want you as a speaker to share as well. Okay, Pratik or Shubha, you want to say hi before we wrap up? Almost some people are dropping off already. Shubha, Pratik?
Yes, yeah, hi everyone. So
Yes.
thanks for inviting me, and thank you for the excellent session. So I am currently working as a knowledge analyst in International SOS Group and taking care of medical and healthcare contents. So liaising with different stakeholders, working with SharePoint contents, introducing innovative ideas, using ChatGPT, co-pilots for prompts and these kind of things. So yeah.
Very nice, Pratik.
Great to learn.
We invite you to give a case study next time you join the session.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah,
thanks
sure,
so
sure.
much.
Thank
Yeah, yeah. Great. So any concluding remarks? Lokesh, you were one of the big keynote speakers. So a few concluding remarks on what you said. Rudy and Dave, you want to say?
Yeah, actually, like one of the aspect actually what Yvette has mentioned, like the people are making fun of AI in one side, right? One side it's developing very fast, okay, at the light speed, right? So what I wanted to really tell is like don't measure too early because people laughed at 3.0. Actually, it really surprised at 3.5. What people laughed at 3.5, it's 10,000 times better with 4, right? So I think that's the kind of speed which is happening. I think we may feel happy, like if it tells lie or if it really makes a mistake, but actually people the things which is happening is much faster than what we are thinking. Actually, we stay away. I think we are the losers. So that's what is my thought process actually, which I wanted to tell you. Okay, so let us take things seriously, and then how we can really build, because it's an opportunity for everyone. It's like a Wright brothers flying, right? So we don't know what its potential. Even that's what Sam Altman says, right? So he doesn't know what is the potential of the whole thing, right? I think how we leverage and then utilize it effectively for building businesses is an opportunity, but it's not a fun stuff to play with.
Thanks. Yeah. So take it seriously, but don't judge too early.
Absolutely.
Wait, any concluding remarks?
Got to know so many facets of knowledge management and AI courtesy this session. So thank you, Madan, for organizing that. Any other
Madan, we have Vinay. We have Vinay online.
He's coming. Yeah, he's my colleague. Don't worry. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I guess we all should embrace AI instead of looking for pitfalls or the risks that are there. It's best for us to embrace it, move it forward, start using it in some of our daily lives as well. On our professional side as well as on the work front too. Right? So just go ahead and embrace it. And the tools are available for free now. Very advanced versions are available for free after DeepSeek came in.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's turn to those who began the session with. Prachwal, you want to start with?
Super interesting. So for me as like an entrepreneur who is very young and trying to build in this space, I really loved all the sessions, get an idea of how senior leaders are thinking about incorporating AI, incorporating new software. I think I'm very excited to see the way new tools are being adopted so fast. I really loved Yvette's session on how video can become a new mode of content. I think there is a very interesting point we're going to hit where once AI content also starts getting more normalized, I think people will look for that human connection kind of thing again. So I'm very intrigued to see how that plays out, how that's going to play a role in knowledge and knowledge sharing. Because AI, it can create content faster, but I think everyone said today, there is an AI flavor to it. There is something that's still not there. Maybe technology catches up, But yeah, very excited to see how that changes things in the future.
Isha, you're the next generation of knowledge workers. So
Yeah.
what's your takes on that?
No, I think when all of us started talking about knowledge management, I was wondering how is it relevant to what I do, and I'm tapping another space, or my software is very different. But then with all of the sessions, especially events, I understood that even the software that we're building, it consumes knowledge in some form or the other, right? And from these companies, we've been hearing that once our star employees leave, we don't really know what to do unless we hire a new one in the next 3-4 months. So we're losing out on so many pieces of information, and it's becoming so difficult for us to transfer that knowledge. And that's where I think now I get to better my pitch in a certain way, saying that you do all your knowledge transfers with our software. And so the bottom line is that I learned a lot from all of you. So thank you so much, guys. It was really interesting, and I do agree that we should be a little more risk taking in that sense and should embrace AI as much as we can.
Very nice. Thanks so much. Before I ask Vinay to come in, I'll just share one quick slide. This is what we do at MXR. MXR is the company. I want to say thanks to Sai, Manasvi, and Vinay for putting this together. We specialize in what we call innovation conversations. We begin with what's new. We ask startups, innovators to come and pitch and tell us what's happening in the field, how is AI being used, technology, processes, whatever. Then we talk about how well does it work in a bigger organization. So we ask the big enterprises to come and check, all this is good, but in a big organization, this may work, this may not work, etc. And at the end, we talk about how can we scale this all together. So investors may say, okay, good, let me talk to you and see if we can get a pitch deck. Hopefully some of the corporates will say, come and give us a POC and how this might work for us, and so on. So that's the crux of the whole thing. And let me ask my co-founder, Vinay, to say a few words about some of the next steps before we wrap up this session. Vinay, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Madan. A lot of takeaways, from the insights from around Professor Nanaka, and I didn't know there was a rugby background for Scrum, and other takeaways in terms of content being synthetic, and the number of proposals people could send, and video, all of that. We have a series of events, engagements that we do. We also have a workflow tool. In fact, we do a lot of surveys with innovators, entrepreneurs in the East and the West. Now we are a lot more global company. We have partnerships in North America, the Middle East. In fact, I thought I would quickly tell you about a couple of other events that are coming. The first week of March, we're going to have a sort of a cross-border event with, while we have done it with Dubai, we're going to do it with Australia, the US. And I also wanted to take this opportunity to show you some of the insights we gathered through our workflow tool from the East and West. We engage a lot of founders and innovators. As you can see, the kind of inputs, insights that founders in the East, so on the left, you have founders from the East who are sharing their inputs. Many of them seem to want to do more of corporate partnerships. They want to work on POCs, pilot projects. They want to expand beyond India and Asia to the US and EU. And they also want the government to support the ecosystem. Whereas in the West, it's very different from the survey insights that we've got. People are looking at building the product fast, the MVP. And if you look at the last point, you also have, maintaining financial sustainability along with product development costs. So a very interesting insight. And what we figured is the Middle East seems to have both these inputs, So one of the areas that we're exploring is we have tied up with the government of Dubai. We're going to do some mixers in April and May out there. And we'd like to engage with all of you in different parts of the world, in Bangalore and across the world. So in March, we have a few cross-border events. In the first week of March, we'll be happy to share them with you as attendees and partners. And if there are any feedback sessions, we will share a link with you, thanking all of you for your inputs and how we could add value to you. With this, we'd like to again thank you all for your fantastic insights and amazing job, Madan, for putting and getting insights from all of them together. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Yvette, you want to say last few words before we wrap up? We're going to go and have some nice spicy snacks over here, which we'll have to share with you some other time, but we'll send you a group photo and all that stuff. Yeah. Right? I'm sure you like spicy food. Yeah.
I don't know. I was just really amazed to hear and listen to you all. It doesn't matter what is your age or knowledge or anything. In the beginning, I was like, oh, people are focused, and we are focusing so much on AI and software that I felt a little bit like fish out of the water. But it made me thinking how many opportunities there are if we keep working together. And many times, maybe this is an information that I would like to share, especially with the startups here, that it's easy for you guys to go into conferences because you can sponsor and demo your products and everything. But it is good to connect with people like Rudolf and me and others who are actually working in knowledge management, and we can give you some help or any mentoring if you would like to develop your product further, because what you do is really important. Software is very, very important. And yes, I made this comment that the guys are all after software, but at the same time, I love it because this is for me, going back to the caveman times where you guys discovered fire and we could cook. So I think what is very important here is that software and AI will do things that we don't want to do. I grew up in a very small village, and in the beginning of my childhood, I brought water from the village fountain, and now I just open a tap. So please keep working on the software and please keep your geek side so that we humans, we can focus on enjoying our time and have great conversations. Thank you.
Thanks, Vivek. Thanks for all those comparisons and metaphors. Now I'm going to ask a very special person to give the vote of thanks. We are here in Bangalore in this place called the Karnataka Digital Economy Mission. This is the nerve center of innovation and digital transformation for this entire state of Karnataka. And joining us is Vakya. She's an innovation fellow at KDEM. I'm going to ask her to give the vote of thanks. She spearheads a lot of the activities in KDEM. So thanks to her and her team, we've had many of our KDEM community meetups here in this organization. A good example of government working with industry to grow the whole knowledge ecosystem. Vakya, yeah.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Good evening, all. Hi, I'm Vakya. So I work at Startup and Innovations here at KDEM. To give you a small introduction about what exactly KDEM is, so we are a Section 8 company, and we directly work with the Department of IT, Government of Karnataka. So we are a better connect between the industry and the government. And here at KDEM, we have 5 different focus areas that we work on. One being startups and innovation. We also have something called as Beyond Bangalore, so wherein we enable the organizations, startups, and the MNCs and the GCCs that are coming in to set up their offices in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. So as of now, we've identified 6 clusters, and we are active in 3 clusters as of today. One being the MXR cluster, wherein we have cybersecurity focus and ESDM focus. In the Bangalore cluster, we have you will find a lot of fintech startups. And in the Hubli, Belgavi, Dharwad, you will find a lot of AI and drone tech startups. So we also have another vertical called as Talent Accelerator, wherein we work with the academic institutions, and we also have another Women at Work initiative under Talent Accelerator. We also have something called as ESDM, which is Electronic Silicon Design Manufacture. And we also have another important vertical called ITGCC, which the focus area of which lies with IT, ITES companies and the global capability centers. So having said that, to give you a small brief of what we do in startups and innovation, we have 3 main focus areas, being access to market. With access to market, we conduct VC Connect sessions along with MXR. We have something called as Beyond Bangalore Blue. So this is for the startups from the Tier 2, Tier 3 cities that I mentioned, the clusters that we have. So wherein we take the VCs from the country and have a matchmaking and have the startups pitch for the VCs, and when it's an investment opportunity. With regard to mentorship, another focus area, we have something called as Karnataka Acceleration Network, of which KDEM is the program manager. This is primarily for the growth stage startups. So we enable the specific mentorship that each startup requires, and we cater to them. Also with access to market, we have something called as outbound delegation and grounding of startups. So when we help startups set up their shops and operations here in Bangalore and clusters with the help of the partners that we are connected to the network. So that's a little about what we do at KNM. And we are also an implementing partner for various government initiatives. So if you have any queries or if you want to connect over the startup policies and more information, I'd be happy to take that. And I think we can connect through MXR for that.
Yes.
So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Big round of applause for our host. With that, we really are done now. We've shot over time by about 10 minutes or so, which is time well spent, I think. Thank you everyone for coming. We have some snacks from outside, and Yvette will share with you the photo and some other screenshots and stuff like that. Yeah. Have you been to India yet, by the way? Yvette, have you been to India yet? Not yet.
No, I just would like to have the snacks. It's lunch, guys, here, so.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. Thanks everyone. I think we'll stop the recording and let's go. Thanks everyone for joining.